Joe Biden. We commemorate your exit from the political arena. 50 plus years in Washington, 8 years as a vice president, 3.5 years as president. And it is time for you to go. And I'm so glad that you know that your time is now. What will be upcoming for the president in the next 6 months or so? You're watching BS3 Presents the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network of BS3TVLive.com and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. And you're watching and you're listening to it on Real Wise Radio. And it starts right now. Well, good morning, Shifter. It is Monday, July 22nd, 2024, and welcome to BS3 Presents the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. And sit back and relax. For the next 60 minutes, you will be enthralled as we get you and keep you informed, engaged, enlightened, entertained, and spiritually fed. Now, along with the possible change in the guard that we saw yesterday with the Democratic Party, we'll also touch on the Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheatle, as she will now be taking questions from the House as to the debacle that happened not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before with Donald Trump's assassination attempt. And enlighten the way we will touch on accountability. But that's for later. For now, let us properly do our thing and start you up. And here's what's taking place in the world today. Democratic Party chairs of 7 critical battleground states Sunday reaffirmed their support of Joe Biden. Unfortunately, now that does not matter, but it might transfer, urging the fellow Democrats to focus on beating former President Donald Trump. Many in the party are trying to push Biden to drop out. Well, they don't have to push too hard. Now he is gone. But we'll touch on that a little later. Madonna's son, David Banda, says that he's been, quote, scavenging, close quote, for food after moving out of her place. During a recent Instagram Live, the music megastar's 18-year-old son told viewers about his post-grad situation. When asked by a fan how he, quote, likes living, close quote, on his own, Banda said the following, quote, "It's lovely to experience it being 9 o'clock at night, me being hungry and realizing that I don't have enough money to get food. And we don't have enough food in the house and scavenging. It's fun." Close quote. The "it's fun" part, of course, was a joke. Earlier this year, Madonna posted a heartfelt message on Instagram featuring her son and her daughter, who's also 18, as the duo celebrated an exciting achievement, graduating from high school. "Son, get back home. You ain't ready yet." I'm sorry. As airlines continue to grapple with the fallout from Friday's global IT outage, thousands of flights had to be canceled or delayed. And there were over 1,000 flights canceled and more than 2,300 delays as of 11 a.m. yesterday, according to flight tracking website FlightAware. Delta and United have also been the hardest hit, with 539 and 224 cancellations thus far, respectively. Endeavor Air, a wholly owned regional subsidiary of Delta, has also seen significant cancellations. 3 people are missing after a car drove off a pier in Galveston, and that's in Texas, earlier Sunday morning, according to reports. The car drove up Pier 21 at 1 a.m. Reports clicked to Houston, KPRC, and ABC 13 Houston, or KTRK. The driver, who was able to escape, told police that there were 3 other people inside the car. He was taken to the hospital and is now being interviewed by police. At 8:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time yesterday, the car was pulled out of the water and no one was found inside the vehicle. USA Today contacted the city of Galveston for more information. Ain't none given. The Secret Service denied requests for additional security for Donald Trump over the past 2 years, but said in a statement that it has, quote, made modifications to ensure the security of the protectee, close quote. Agents who oversaw Trump had previously requested magnetometers and more agents to screen attendees at sporting events and other large public gatherings that Trump attended, according to the Washington Post, which first reported the Secret Service denial of additional resources. Carpenter bees are known to drill into wooden structures that may exist around your home, such as a wooden deck or the siding of your house. However, carpenter bees are incredible pollinators. So if you see them flying around your house or around your garden, don't be intimidated. These bees get a bad rap for being aggressive, and while they can occasionally act defensively, carpenter bees' first instincts aren't really to sting you. No, more often than not, these bees are completely harmless to people. Yes, female carpenter bees do have the ability to sting you, says Brandon Brasham and Jill Jacobs, the co-owners of Sprigley's Beescaping, a nature education and habitat restoration business in Waynesville, North Carolina. However, female carpenter bees are, quote, incredibly docile. They much prefer to run away than put up any kind of fight. They most likely will only sting you if they are squeezed or stepped on, close quote. The following sports update is brought to you by the Playmakers blog. Let's go to the golf link, shall we? The 122nd British Open concluded with Xander Schauffele getting a 65 in the final round to capture his second major. You know, that is actually a good thing considering he's had a rough go of things earlier this year. To the NBA and the Cavs and Evan Mobley, they decided to agree to a 5-year, $224 maximum rookie extension. The deal could reach as high as $269 million. The Celtics and Sam Howard, not as big of agreement, but they did agree to a 4-year, $45 million extension. And congrats to the champs. And I'm hearing F. Boston in Weiss's voice as I speak. Turning to the WNBA, Alicia Gray of the Atlanta Dream, she is the 3rd player to win the skills challenge and the 3-point contest, but she's the only one to do it on the same night. And history repeats itself as Team WNBA beats Team USA in the WNBA All-Star game, just like they did 3 years ago. Arike Ogunwale, she wins All-Star game MVP, just like she did 3 years back. But on Saturday, she put on a record performance with 34 points, which is the most ever in All-Star in WNBA history, and all within the second half. Now, from the women to the men, Team USA men, they escaped South Sudan on Saturday afternoon behind LeBron James, scoring 25 points, including giving a game-winning layup with only 8 seconds to go for a 101-100 victory. And both teams, the men's and the women's, will prepare for their final showcase against Germany. The men will play today at 3 on Fox. That's Eastern Daylight Time. The women will play Germany tomorrow. Oh, and also, LeBron James has been announced as the flag bearer for Team USA later on this week, as he will escort Team USA in the opening ceremonies. Oh my goodness. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. Turning our attention to weather, as powered by the Weather Channel. It will be all sunny skies and 88 degrees in Seattle. It will be partly cloudy skies and 79 in Minneapolis. It will be partly cloudy skies and 86 in Chicago. Thunderstorms aplenty and high of 83 in St. Louis. Mostly cloudy skies and high of 88 in Detroit. Now over on the East Coast, it will be partly cloudy skies and 94 in Boston. Rain and a thunderstorm and a sun mix with a high of 94 in New York. A sun thunderstorm mix with a high of 102 in Washington. Down south, there will be partly cloudy skies and 89 in Miami. A sun thunderstorm mix with a high of 88 in Atlanta. Partly cloudy skies and 95 in Memphis. Sun and thunderstorm mix with a high of 93 in New Orleans. Over in the southwest, it will be sunny skies and 96 in San Antonio. Partly cloudy and 103 in Dallas. Partly cloudy and 96 in Houston. Over in the Rockies, it will be a sun thunderstorm mix with a high of 86 in Denver. It will be mostly sunny and a high in the nation of 110 in Phoenix. Mostly sunny and a high of 109 in Las Vegas. And over on the West Coast, it will be sunny skies and 84 in Los Angeles. It will be partly cloudy skies with a high of 65 in the Yay area. And that is your look on weather for today. And now you have been properly started up. Coming up later, Biden is out. Now, who will be in his place? That will be later. And also later, accountability. What does it look like and how should it be? But coming up next, Kimberly Cheatle. The eyes of America are all on you today. You are listening to BS3 Presents the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the Real Eyes Radio Network. You're watching it live on BS3TVLive.com, Roku TV via BS3, and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. We will be right back right after this.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast, every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all.
The Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Welcome back to the morning shift with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. And if you want to be part of that number, all you have to do is go to the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel, where you can see BS3 presents the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson live, and participate with me. Be part of Shift Nation on the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel every weekday. And you will be like my friends here. That's right, Shift Nation in the house. Playmaker. Later on today, you will hear him or see him as well, along with Cool McCain in Mornings of Wrestling at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Shitty Sports Network YouTube channel and the Real Play Callers YouTube channel as well. He says, good morning. The Monday mornings are here. Yeah, and they're actually really good, too. Snowman in the house, and happy belated birthday to you, Snowman. He says, good morning. Snowman checking in from Indianapolis, Indiana. Got an MRI and a birthday drink waiting for me. He says, you're doing a fabulous job. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Cool McCain, the other half of Monarchs of Wrestling, which, as I said, you will see later on today, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. He says, good morning, Shift Nation. It's an interesting day. Oh, yeah, it is. And Ryan McCarthy, one of my most devoted shifters, he says, good morning, fellow shifters, and good morning to you, my beloved shifter. I hope everything is good with you. I hope everything's good with all of you in Shift Nation. I hope everything's good with you, shifter, because today is a great day. Now, let's be blunt. Let's be honest. That might not be the case for one Kimberly Cheatle. She is due to actually be in Washington and be answered a whole bunch of questions on Capitol Hill. But what will result from it, and what bag should she hold in terms of blame and accountability? In the program Spotlight for today, we'll touch on what we probably will see in the upcoming investigation that will be heavily influenced in DC, especially with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, probing and asking certain questions. Well, we knew this day was coming for at least the last 8 days, because there was a lot, and still is a lot, of scuttlebutt that is surrounding, all right, let's be blunt, the absolute abject failure of the protection of the Republican nominee for the presidency and former President Donald Trump. It has been an issue for the last week plus, and it looks like it is showing no signs of slowing down whatsoever. Yeah, boy. Now, you might ask yourself, okay, you said the name, Cole, and I saw the picture. Who is this woman? Yeah, yes, I'll even throw it color purple style. Papa, who this woman? Yeah, well, a House Republican leader is planning for an oversight hearing with the U.S. Secret Service. Of course, after former President Donald Trump was shot in his ear, the campaign stopped last Saturday evening. Now, there has been ballyhooed as to how the follow-ups have happened, why and who, and what to do going forward. That has been the case for the last week. We have heard all of these questions posed everywhere. But now we have to ask the question. The person who is going to be stepping up on Capitol Hill and receiving those firing questions, those probing questions, to get to the heart of the abject failure of the protection of said former president. Who is this woman? Kimberly Cheatle. She was sworn in as the 27th director of the U.S. Secret Service 2 years ago, close to 2 years ago, actually, September 2022. And of course, Joe Biden selected her. Cheatle has served more than 25 years with the distinction for the U.S. Secret Service across a number of leadership roles. She worked on the vice presidential protective division, and in 2021, Biden awarded Cheatle with the President Rank Award. Now, her role, if you want to know what she does and how she's supposed to do it, Well, her role is as follows. Her role as director of the U.S. Secret Service is she is in charge of executing protection and investigations for the agency. The workforce is composed of multiple divisions within the Secret Service, including special agents, uniform division officers, technical law enforcement officers, and administrative, professional, and technical personnel. That is also according to the Secret Service website. Now, before she was a Secret Service agent and director, she worked for Pepsi or PepsiCo as the senior director of global security, according to her biography with the Secret Service. There, Cheatle oversaw and directed security protocols for the company's facilities in North America. She also was the agency's assistant director of the Office of Protective Details prior to joining PepsiCo. Now, she also served as a special agent in charge of the Secret Service's Atlanta field office. And in that position, she provided oversight for all missions related to investigation, protective intelligence, and protective visits in the state of Georgia. Interesting. Now, she is slated to testify today. And she received that in a letter last Monday from the Committee on Oversight and Accountability. And I'm sure the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is chomping at the bit to ask all these questions. Now, we now have an understanding of who she is. The Secret Service itself, what is exactly their duties? Well, in 1865, it was established. And the U.S. Secret Service is one of the country's oldest federal law enforcement agencies. The U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division protects the White House complex and the Naval Observatory, according to the Secret Service's website. One of the newest expansions of that protective mission, it includes the issuance, of presidential decision directives. Now, this established the agency as the lead for coordinating the development and implementation of security plans for national special security events. Now, these events would be like presidential inaugurations, States of the Union addresses, and other events of national significance, possibly like Super Bowl or events that have a lot of national coverage, especially if the president or probably even former presidents actually attend. Now, what will we see? I think we're going to be seeing a lot of angry individuals wanting to have the answer as to how security lapses happened with a former president at a campaign rally. And we'll probably be hearing so many different questions asked so many different ways, so many different times. A lot of called for her job, and I think it might happen. Now, am I rooting for it? No. But will it happen? It most likely could. But we know this. We now know the face of who is in charge of the Secret Service. And that, my friends, is never a good thing. And that is the continuation of today's program Spotlight. Now, I know this wasn't a movie. Now, if it was a documentary, you'd probably be like Kimberly Cheatle. No to give. If it was that, you would join my brothers BS3 or Ben Southern III, King Doc or Ivan Dawkins, Mayhem or Wilkes or David Wilkes, or A-Trap B or Brian Williams, as those four gentlemen will take a documentary, a TV series, or a movie and break it down their own way. BS3 presents The Forecast, and that is live tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page, and the _forecast YouTube channel. That is The Forecast with BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and A-Trap B live tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, the BS3 Network Facebook page, and the _forecast YouTube channel. Coming up next, we might be seeing the changing of the guard with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But with 4 weeks remaining until the beginning of the Democratic National Convention, will the coronation be smooth? You're listening to BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the Real Wise Radio Network. You're watching it live on BS3 TV Live, Roku TV, via BS3, and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. We'll be right back right after this.
There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. 4 men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, WIZE.
Are you in a life holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. Live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
So, sit back, tune in, tell a friend. This Dope Cookie Show, we about to get started, and it's about to go down. Check me out.
Join your culinary master of ceremonies, Chef Jeff, as he introduces to you This Dope Cooking Show. Live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central.
Welcome back to the BS3 Presents the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. It is great that you're here, Shifter. And remember, if you want to watch us, you can watch us on Roku TV via bs3tvlive.com, or you can also watch us on the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. If you can't watch us, you can listen to us on the Real Wise Radio Network as well. And if you are looking for a platform that actually entertains and inspires, I have the program for you. Wise El Jefe will interview a guest of his choosing, and he will pull inspirational nuggets out of them. Join him on Stuck in My Mind podcast. You can catch it live today, tomorrow, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3 and the Stuck in My Mind podcast YouTube channel. That is Stuck in My Mind podcast. You can catch it live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Roku TV. Just hit the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, the bs3tvlive.com, and the Stuck in My Mind podcast YouTube channel. Now back to Shift Nation we go, and my beloved Houston Texans, they beef up their backfield by signing former Rams and I believe Vikings also running back Cam Akers, and hopefully he will be healthy enough to lend support to the looking like already thickening running back backfield, because that room is starting to populate. Damian Pierce, Joe Mixon, now Cam Akers. Well, I can talk football all day. In fact, this week will be the week where we will have training camp happen and exploding all throughout the NFL. And yeah, if you want to hear me talk football, tune in to Total Football Talk. That'll be later on today, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, with Drew Willingham and myself on the Sertova Media and Coleman Media Incorporated YouTube channels. But enough of football. Let's get to the most important story that is taking place this weekend and probably still is reverberating even now. And that is Joe Biden now not seeking re-election. And in today's cover story, we're going to, no, we're not going to do it this way. We're going to do it like this. So we have been looking at the disintegration of a president. We've been seeing signs of him slowing down. And for those who are unaware, those who've been under a rock, this is coming off the heels of an announcement that has been cataclysmic, one that we have not heard in 56 years. And I'll touch on that a little later. But we've been seeing this guy in decline. I mean, we have seen him call heads of state an enemy of the state. We have seen him call his vice president his opponent, his now former opponent in this year's and 2020's presidential campaign. And when you have someone who has these lapses, yet people excuse him because he has this brilliance of other things, well, he should be, because he's been part of Washington for over 50 years. I mean, he has been a politician longer than I've been alive. So if he wasn't up on foreign affairs, if he isn't up on foreign policy, if he isn't up on the economy, if he's not up on other things who move and shake, then there's something wrong with him if he's been in Washington that long. He should by now flow through it with ease, but hopefully he'll flow into retirement with ease. So earlier in the day yesterday on Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, at his home, actually he's convalescing off of COVID-19, our current president and the 46th president of the United States issued, I guess you could say, a concession. I think that's the best way you could put it. He officially will no longer run for the presidency of the United States. That was effective as of roughly noonish, 30-ish Central Time, 1:30 Eastern. And the news came not necessarily as a shock, but I think it came as a relief to most, and maybe some reticence in others, because some really believe this is the guy that is supposed to run the Democratic Party and the presidency. Others were seeing deterioration. And what I heard was the numbers that he got a chance to see from his team was that no matter what he did, no matter how he attacked, no matter what image that they can heap upon him between now and 3.5 months from now, there was no way possible, no way statistically, that Mr. Biden would beat Mr. Trump and retain presidency and beat Trump for a second consecutive time. His team got a hold of him to say that it's not going to happen, and he drafted a note to say that he wasn't. Now, in his address, he stopped short of fully endorsing Kamala Harris, but on X, he wrote a statement saying that he did fully support her in succeeding him. And to give you some historical significance, this is the first time in 56 years that we've had an incumbent president officially not seek a second term. Every incumbent president, everyone, starting with Nixon and going all the way to Trump, tried for a second term. The last time this happened, it was March 31st, 1968. It was done with a country in turmoil, a country split politically, a country that did not have the faith in the commander in chief because of certain decisions. But here's the funny thing. There's a lot of parallels between LBJ and Biden. LBJ also was considered the greatest president for black people in the history of the United States. Similar that I've heard to Joe Biden. LBJ also was much older as a vice president to the president that he served. LBJ with Camelot himself in JFK or John Kennedy. Biden with Obama. And both of those presidents held a high level of importance upon them. They casted a huge shadow where in certain ways they just could not escape it. And both served in Washington a long time as senators, which meant when they became presidents, they called on favors to move certain chess pieces. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And we're actually in the same spot 56 years later. Oh, no, by the way, there are wars that are taking place. But in this case, the U.S. isn't in a war, thankfully, versus LBJ when the U.S. was in one and he escalated it. But now we're probably going to see a new push. And black women, the Democratic Party is calling on you to save them once again. You did it with Obama. You tried to do it, and unfortunately it failed with Hillary Clinton. You did it and succeeded with Biden. And now you're going to have a black woman who's going to represent the Democratic Party, also who attended an HBCU and is a member of a fraternity. Hopefully get the White House in your favor. But do me a favor. Make sure that this is the right person for the job. Don't elect her because she's black and a woman. Elect her because you feel as though she is capable of doing the job more than the other person who's presented as her challenger. And if you do that, you'll make me happy. But if you're going to do it because she looks like you and probably talks like you, then you are no better than those who represent the Republican Party. That's not what we want. That's not what we should desire. But hopefully you can show the way. Coming up, accountability. What does that look like? And is it good for you? You're watching BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on Roku TV via BS3, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. You are listening to it live on the Real Wise Radio Network. We'll be right back right after this.
The moderator.
As woman, you can't be too friendly because the minute you're friendly, then they think you're flirting.
The level head.
I think so that thing is over. So I'm not looking at men like that anymore.
The truth slayer.
Okay, what in the HPV yeast infection is going on over here?
The X Factor.
So I'd rather you tell me everything up front and let's start fresh.
The intersection of life and spirituality never sounded this good. BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted to go through against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there, seen LA Knight. Oh, okay, nigga. LA Knight hopped out the car. Let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these two kings, monarchs of wrestling, live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, and so glad you're here. And if you want to understand where you can be part of Shift Nation, just go to the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel, and you could be part of Shift Nation Shifter. And if you want to watch it in another place, you can watch it on Roku TV, BS3TVLive.com. But BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson's YouTube channel is where you need to watch it so you can participate and with Shift Nation on the spot. Yeah, like this. My man Vicala, or V-Lock-A3, or the Ed McMahon of the Snowman in the Morning broadcast, Victor Locke says, good morning, Shift Nation, one and all. Coos Breeze McCain, Espresso McCarthy, Kingpin Snowman, and my friend and mentor, the EP up. All EPs, Cole Johnson. Thank you. Oh, and also to the super hacker himself, Playmaker. I'm glad everything's good with you all the way from Chicago. Cool. He says, amen, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that you felt what I was feeling. I'm glad you picked up what I put down. Ryan says, look, the biggest for Kamala is that her name is attached to all of the policies passed by Biden. It's a tough road to hoe. And I think what's going to be made even tougher is two other things that I didn't say from the desk of. You're dealing with a country that I think a lot of people, women, I may add, when I say this, they don't look at a woman as a proper head of state figure. Still, 2024, the latter part of 2024, there are still people who will look at Kamala and say, that's a woman, and a woman just cannot lead. And I'm saying this is coming from women. I've heard it come from women. I've heard it come from men too, but I've heard it come from women. You have that. And you also have the president that she worked for or works for has a very low approval rating. They said the lowest in, I forgot how many years, but it's a lot of years. I mean, probably Gerald Ford level low. And she has a lower approval rating than he does. So those are two obstacles she's going to have to scale and overcome and she's going to have to do it in less than 4 months. That also makes it really, really difficult. Cool says, look, Harris will need a very popular running mate. Michelle's not going to run. He says maybe Obama should be a running mate. No, she's not going to run. She's probably going to pick somebody like I don't know, like a Josh Shapiro, like the governor of Pennsylvania. And that would fit because since Trump picked J.D. Vance, who is a senator from a battleground state in Ohio, and normally if you get elected, Barack, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if he wants to stick his toe back into the political arena, but I mean, if they want to shock people, they can do that. But I'm thinking it's going to be somebody like a Shapiro. She would pick someone like a Gavin Newsom, but she can't because she represents California, and there's rules. And the rule is the vice president and the president cannot come from the same state. And if that rule wasn't in place, I guarantee you the first person she would have called would have been Gavin Newsom. But Josh Shapiro, I think, is where she's going to go. She can go in other places, and I if I had more time, I'll tell you who. But I would say I'd say the number one person she's going to call is Shapiro, because just like Vance with Trump representing a battleground state, he also represents a battleground state. And Ohio's important in the presidential election, and Pennsylvania was important in the last election, and it might be just as important this election. And Brian says Barack and Michelle are too busy getting that bag from Netflix and want to get back in the government. Michelle basically said she's on the first thing smoking out of Washington as soon as both terms were done for Barack. So nah, I don't see that happening. But what I do see happening is something that I think we've been hearing ad nauseum with Kimberly Cheatle and even with Joe. Accountability. What does that look like? Well, welcome to Lighting the Way. Father God, in the name of Jesus, thank you so much for being in the midst. Your word says when two or three are gather together, that you will be in the midst. So I thank you for one more time being in the midst, Jesus. And I separate myself with the following message. I don't want anything of my ego, of my personality to shine in what I'm saying. I want your message to be what is paramount. None of me and all of you is what I want to disseminate to those I call shifters, because they are shifting not for me, but they're shifting the world for you. And may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be always acceptable in your sight. Oh Lord, you are my strength and my redeemer. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now, this word accountability, it's just been tossed to, from, and about often. And why? Well, I think it's been tossed about because we've been seeing things that have called to carpet the leaders of our federal government, state government, and local government to be their higher selves. So why is accountability so important? Because it's necessary. Now, accountability in Webster's dictionary is a noun, and it is the fact or condition of being accountable or responsible or responsibility, basically. And we've seen what it looks like. We've seen what it doesn't look like. And not just in politics, but in our own life, in all walks of life, our jobs, at church, and our families, and even with ourselves. So what does God to say about it? Well, in one of the most popular scriptures known to man and known to those who practice Christianity, and you hear it a lot with men, Solomon, of course, he dispensed a lot of wisdom. And in the book of Proverbs, you can find it here. 27th chapter, 17th verse. And you all probably could say it along with me in unison. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. And another way of saying it is, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, wait a minute. Wait. What does iron sharpening iron mean? What does iron sharpens iron mean? Well, it means this. It means that you're coming into a situation one way and you're hardened. Not in a bad way, but you're hardened in terms of you're strong and you're sturdy, and nothing will bend you. And another force is strong and sturdy, and nothing will bend him or her. And when you clash, you can only be better. And the clashing will change you. And the clashing should change you. Just think about when you see iron clashing with iron. Both objects change shape. Well, the same thing happens when you have somebody of strong will clashing with somebody with strong will. You only can change when it happens, and you hopefully can change in the right and positive way when you clash. So you're probably asking, well, will the clashing hurt? Well, yeah. Any clashing hurts. I don't care who it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care with whom you collide. Yes, it's going to hurt. And yes, it's supposed to hurt. What's that saying that I've heard in R&B songs and idioms alike? No pain, no gain. I mean, we've heard this in exercises. You know, when you take a mile run, or when you bench press 300 pounds, they say you're supposed to feel that resistance. You're supposed to feel that pain, but you're supposed to push through it. And it's a delicate balance when it comes to iron sharpening iron. You're supposed to bend a little, but you're also supposed to be sturdy too, so that you won't wilt when it comes to whatever criticism that's coming in your way, or a correction that comes in your way. You're supposed to be sturdy. The person who's giving you the criticism is supposed to be sturdy. And then you both walk away from the relationship and walk away from the conversation stronger than you walked into it. So why is the sharpening of iron necessary? That's a really good question. It's necessary because we can't learn unless we have some sort of resistance. We have to learn something when we meet up with resistance. And we learn something about ourselves, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, about said resistance. And we need that sharpening of iron to understand how much we can resist and how much we need so we can be better for the world. Because that's why we do clash. That's why we are sharpening one another. So that when we walk away from whatever that conversation may be, we walk away being better to somebody else who comes in contact with us after that meeting. That's why sharpening iron is necessary. So what's the greatest benefit from such a mutual challenge? Well, I just said it. You walk away a better person. You're not bitter, you're better. You don't take offense. You thank that person for pointing out flaws that you may have so that you can actually be better the next time, the next day, the next minute, the next hour. That's why the clashing is necessary. That's why the sharpening is necessary. Because if you're not going to be accountable to yourself, then you shouldn't even be accountable to anybody else. But if you're going to be going out to the gospel, going out in the world and preaching the gospel to all the ends of the earth, you have to be accountable to yourself. And the only way you can be that is if you have a mirror that is facing you. Sometimes it's yourself, other times it's another person. But you got to have something that shows you, okay, maybe this isn't something that I should bring with me in my future, or maybe this is something that I can bring in my future, but I need to tweak it a little. And that's why when you go to your friends and who has your best interest and say, should I be like this? Am I wrong when I say this? Am I wrong when I'm doing this? That's the clashing. And the clashing is beautiful. So embrace the clash. It's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing. And most importantly, it's a necessary thing. It doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you're good on your road to getting better. And the other person is good on the road to getting better because they sharpen their iron with you. Well, Shifter, that is all the time I have. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you want to join Shift Nation, all you have to do is go into the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel and join me live every weekday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, and be part of Shift Nation because engagement is what fuels this show. Well, for all of us here at the Morning Shift, BS3 Network, and Coleman Media Incorporated, I'm Cole Johnson, here to say in parting as I always do. If you lack commitment, you will never start. If you lack consistency, you will never finish. And if you lack love, my friend, you most certainly will never, ever conquer. Until we do this again in 23 Hours Shifter, I love you. Understand that you're a blessing. And how do I know that? Because already you have been a blessing to me. And hopefully I've been a blessing to you. I love you, Shifter. Go and make somebody's day great. And hopefully you will have a great day yourself. I love you. So long.